Thanks everyone. Thank you for joining in. Today we have a very interesting agenda where we are going to talk about the managed service and the various offerings that we have as part of managed service at Indusface at Rana. Every vendor does provide managed service, but the managed service that Indusface provide is very unique, and we go above and beyond to provide a complete service to our customers. It is for this reason that customers love us and give us 100% satisfaction rating. So today, over the next half an hour, we are going to talk with the leaders who are responsible to deliver this quality service to our customers. With that, we'll get started. Before going into the core part of the agenda, a quick introduction about Induspace for the people who don't know us. Induspace is a fast-growing cybersecurity company. We play in the space of application security, and we are in the business of protecting customers' application. So we have multiple product lines as part of this, starting from Aptrana WAAP, which is a risk-based application protection solution. We have added API security, AI Shield on top of it. We also provide runtime application scanning as a vast DAT solution. Or also, if customers want SSL certificates, we are also a reseller of secure certificates. We have all the compliance certifications to meet all your compliance needs, be it SOC 2, PCI, and the likes. So every quarter and every year, we do publish a state of application security report, and this is a report where we analyze the security posture that we are seeing across the applications that we are protecting across the globes, and this has a wide coverage across the space. If it's a very interesting report, we look at it from a global perspective as well as a India perspective and give our commentaries. So if you are very interested, please do download these reports and look at it. These are some of our customers. We have customers across all the verticals across the globe. We have currently now customers across 95 plus countries and about 6,500 customers. With that, let's get started. So let me do a quick introduction for the panelists today. So I have with me Siddesh, who leads the sales engineering team. So he's the director of global sales engineers. We have Kandav Shah, who is the VP of supports and services. I have Pavitra with me, who is the head of security research. Karthik, who is the CTO, and myself, Vivek, who is the VP of products. So today, what we'll do is in the next half an hour, I will be asking some questions to the panelists here and go into the nitty-gritties of why the managed services provided by Indusface is different and what's the people, process, and the technology behind it. With that, let's get started. So, Siddesh, let's start with the customer journey, right? So, when a customer gets onboarded, I think it's your team who gets involved first, where they interact with the customers, help them onboard the customers in a seamless manner, migrate across accounts. So why don't you talk about this? Talk about what is the customer experience they will get when they sign up for our service.
Yeah, so to implement WAAP solutions successfully, onboarding is a critical milestone. So we start our journey with a project planner with the customer. We gather the information, we onboard their application. If it's a migration from the existing WAAP vendor, we also implement all the customizations that is required during the onboarding phase. Now we start doing comprehensive spoof testing. It is one of the critical steps that we do, where all the technical compatibility issues that we observe, we iron those out in this particular phase to have a seamless onboarding as well. To give you a few examples, like what kind of fine tunings we do, like TLS cipher negotiation, or the user session based issues, timeout based issues, performance metrics fine tuning we do. For APIs, what we do is what we have seen is that the SSL IP pinning has been used especially for the mobile applications. Nowadays, a lot of cloud native applications are coming in, like for example, cloud for integration with S3, cloud for integration with Cognito. So we have to modulate our onboarding as per the need of the application as well, right? A lot of applications have started using dynamic WebSockets like a VPN based application, IP whitelisting issues, and so on. So we have a checklist to validate all these particular things as a part of the onboarding and ensure that the onboarding is fine-tuned as per the application. Also, during the DNS cutover, our team is always on a standby to monitor the runtime logs. If any anomaly has been identified, we quickly remediate those to ensure that we provide zero downtime onboarding experience to the customer and seamlessly bringing the security solution in line. Uh, like we are expertised in onboarding every segment of the application, right? We have customers from every vertical that we have onboarded. To name a few examples, like we have a leading housing finance customer where we migrated them from an Akamai platform. We exported the XML config. All the custom configurations were added into our platform, and seamlessly we did the migration. So end-to-end ownership was done by our team in this particular project. We have another leading insurance customer where like 150 odd applications we onboarded within a few weeks time. So project planning comes into play, like what are the timelines the customer is looking for, and we also add any custom requirements customer has. Like for example, this particular customer had a requirement that like any geofencing or any kind of IP restriction policies implemented, that should remain active irrespective of the WAF modes. So we understand that requirements and accommodate that during our onboarding phase as well. The another example is one of the leading health and wellness technology company of United States. The customer was facing a lot of false positives for the SSO application and with the existing vendor. Then we built a complete project plan wherein we initially started with UAT. We captured the learning and implemented the production. So we seamlessly onboarded the customer onto a platform. Also, we have a multinational conglomerate from India where they have a unique case, like they had a root domain with that of an NTLM and WebSocket type of application. So we need to fine tune our entire solution according to the need of the application per se. We have a leading real estate developer from Dubai where we have migrated from Cloudflare. So we have expertise. So it's our piece of expertise and customer peace of mind. That's how we deliver the solution. Once the application stabilizes, we pass it on to our services team for further false positive analysis. Vivek.
Yeah, Satish, I think one of the key points that I'm hearing from this is that the project planning part, where you go above and beyond to understand the customer requirement and then fine tune it, and especially onboarding it without any downtime, right? So again, that's a key USP, and that's something that the customer love. Like you can onboard a site behind us without any downtime at all. Another major piece that you finally touched upon is the false positive, right? This is another key piece. You do not want a legitimate request to be blocked because that's a serious pain for customers as they onboard, and it's one of the primary reasons why a WAF project fails and WAF remains in log. And doing this at scale is a key aspect. And Kandav's team, Kandav, why don't you talk about a bit more around the activities that go into the false positive monitoring, how we are able to handle this at scale, migrating more like what's the day said, right? 150 applications in few weeks. So how are we able to do this and do ensure that the false positives are not there as we onboard these sites?
Yeah, sure, Vivek. So thanks a lot. So I think you and Siddesh did touch upon some critical aspects of the onboarding. And to add more to the context, right, I'll give you some brief or some perspective because me and my team are constantly interacting with customers and we actually know what works and what doesn't work for various customers, right? Now the site is onboarded. Now every site is different. Every customer is different. Their requirement of protection is different, right? And there, that is where the FP analysis plays a very critical role. I mean, again, we have observed why WAF is failing at many places. What we learn is most of the app owners or business owners or people who are managing WAF, right, they are very, very concerned about legit blocking. They would never want their traffic, the legit traffic, to get blocked for obvious reasons that there might be a lot of financial transactions going on via that website. It's an immediate business impact for them, right? Too many financial transactions not happening for that period or for that day. It's an immediate boardroom discussions. So due to this, most what we have observed at most of the places, the configuration or the WAF onboarding is in default configuration or it's in the vanilla stage, right? Uh, just because they don't have the right skills to do a fine tuning based on the type of app they have onboarded. And this is where our team, my team, comes into play, right? So, what are the challenges here and how we are overcoming those challenges? One is if I have too many applications to do the learning and move those applications into block mode after the due process. Second, the right type of fine tuning, right? It has to be a surgical approach to app, right? So, and to ensure that the right protection is enabled as soon as possible. Right? We can't have the app in the learning mode for too long. So that is where what we do is I'll just quickly run through the process in the interest of time. We have sites onboarded, right? So we need some time for the log collection. So typically take 7 to 10 days of time so that we have enough logs collected. And a typical cycle of a pattern of traffic is a week, right? So the weekdays and weekends, everything is been included. Once we know that we have enough logs and enough learning in our system, we have for a period of time we have a very good, great learning of doing this process. So we have created a automation and we created a dashboard platform where we process this information and we get meaningful information out of that, which is been analyzed by the subject matter expert here who understands where are the exceptions created, and based on that they also figure out the type of app, right? So they then so they have an option, either go and check with the customer, does it require an exception to be created, or they, if there are more queries, they rely on our signature labs team, right? But the final objective of our team is to ensure that the right protection is enabled at earliest, right? So in that process, we ensure we have confirmation from customers that okay, we does this require an exception. For an example, that there are a lot of HTTP methods which are bad, right? Which are should not be allowed by our default core rule sets. But there definitely will be applications which the type of the application require those methods to be enabled. So we understand that we go out and talk to customer that do you require these methods to be enabled? If there is a answer is yes, we create an exception and ensure that everything else is being moved to block mode. So this is the entire process in a nutshell. The final objective we achieve after say maybe 15-20 days of onboarding stage is that the application is in block mode, blocking all the known bad attacks and not in the very very limited block mode, limited rule sets, which actually doesn't solve the purpose of protecting an application by a WAP tool. Yeah, Vivek. So that was a brief from my side on the FP
Yeah,
analysis.
yeah, Gandharv. I think the key part around that is how the people and the process comes in place, right? And I'm pretty sure that you also reach out to Sigdev team Pavitra, so when is your team gets involved in this all the onboarding process when a false positive is done and all those things? So why don't you just talk about that part of your interaction?
Sure, Vivek. Um, the biggest challenge that gets escalated to our signature labs team for false positives, as Kandap explained, we do have processes in place, automation in place, but there are always the corner cases, edge cases where the security expertise is needed. That's when it gets escalated to our team. So FPs can happen in various reasons because of limited visibility into security rules. How do they interact on the new application workflows? Every application will have a different business use cases and different uh, uh, framework of applications within where rules have to work and they have to protect. Our focus is to enable our WAF into log on block mode without disrupting their business as well as the application functionality or blocking any legitimate request. Our approach is basically to closely work with the customer in such scenarios and along with their technology teams as well in certain cases to understand the complete application workflows in detail. Based on that, we make informed decision of whether it is a whitelisting or any kind of customization. We call it as a tuning process, which is again we have to strike a right balance between removing the false positives as well as ensuring the protection. The overall application security posture is not compromised. We also provide a detailed explanations related to the customizations as Kandap explained about how HTTP method can be customized based on the application. Similarly, whether it could be about our BAF rules or any features or any configurations that we do for a particular application, we actually reason it out reason it out to the customers or what is the kind of customization which is more suitable for them so that there is a complete transparency and the confidence is built before we enable it into log on block mode. As I said, there could be various reasons for FPs. To name a few, there was recently one of the customer who where we saw the logins were failing. So in this case, the firewalls or the proxies, how the architecture is built or how our platform is interacting with the origin server, having a clear workflow of the architecture, knowing that it is very important. So in this customer case, the true client IP was being masked, and they were not able to see the true, actual IP, and that is where the logins were failing. So we had to, give a specific targeted fixes to make sure that the true client IP is visible. Accordingly, the rules are working as expected. The another case where the application was not responding correctly with the status code because of some kind of encoding and decoding differences that we have with the WAP platform and the application. So we again have to understand the workflow, how the request responses are being transacted, and so that we don't get any unexpected response code. Like in this case, we used to get 404 instead of 200 OK. So here also targeted customization is required by understanding the how our WAF platform is configured along with the origin server. Another case could be with another customer. It is actually a US customer. Generally, the US customers will have onboarded with their relay network, CDN relays will be of a different platform. In this case, our bot modules were tagging certain IPs as bad reported IPs by default. So we have to understand how this relay networks will help and what is that legitimate traffic that is expected for this particular application, and we have to do a targeted geo specific or IP specific whitelisting so that a customer understands. Instead of doing the blanket allow or deny decisions, we make sure that we do a targeted fixes, customizations which will work for a particular application.
Yeah, thanks for it. I think the key part is how how we ensure that the application remains in block mode all the time, right? And not open it up a lot and do surgical tweaks to ensure that there are no FPs, but at the time the protection is accurate and round the clock, right? So, Karthik, the one of the major things about all this is the scale aspect of things, right? Uh, I think Deshkanda did talk about people and process involved, but the key part is how we are able to do it for 3,000 applications. The 3,000 more applications are on the clock, right? So, how are we doing this? And what's the tech behind this?
Sure. Thank you, Vivek. And thanks, Pavitra, Siddesh, Kandar. It was good hearing it so far. And yes, anything at scale is always difficult. It's one thing to do it, another thing to do it well, and yet another thing to do it well at scale, right? And that's where we want to be, because and technology has to be the one that scales, because that's how you do these things. When we're talking about FP monitoring, one thing is we've been doing this, including right from day one. We've been doing managed services. So we have a wealth of data from the last, more than a decade of us being in this business, protecting customer sites and applications. And based on that, based on the things we've done, firstly, our rules are very highly tuned, so that that's why we can be in protect mode for the bulk of our rules right from when the onboarding, right? Now, where does and wherever before there was FPs that customer reported or that our managed team noticed, and the feedback loop came back to SigDev, and we fixed the rules. So we have all this information and knowledge that we built up over the years. So what we did is that, like Kandar mentioned, his team has automation, Pavitra's team has automation. Engineering also took those kind of inputs from there. We also went ahead and built models around this. So the models actually now can predict when we get these reports that we're analyzing for at least a week's time frame that we analyze, so we get the full picture of the entire business week, so to speak. And from that, our models are able to very clearly winnow it down to say that, look, all of these are true positives. So this small percentage is what are potentially false positives. And even there, enough annotations so that if a human looks at it, they don't have to spend as much time. A very an example or it's kind of to understand what's happening is that when a rule blocks something, we also log a little bit of context before and after the actual part that triggered the rule. So based on that, and based on our history and an analysis of all the previous reports of true and false positives, our model is able to tell you that, oh, this trigger here is likely with this, how likely is it to be a false positive? And if it crossed a threshold, that's when it needs to get reviewed, and the rules might have to get tweaked. Conversations with customers might have to happen. So our success rate with this model is in the 93-95% range. So when Pavitra, Gandharv say all the cool work the team does, and they do need to do it, right? What sticks in the mind is when they're putting the effort. So, but the key part is that 95% of the time you don't have to get to do that effort. So that's why a human can actually spend the time and the effort to get the actual things that require tweaking kind of stuff. That's how this whole thing works at scale, and there's no other way we can actually pull off what we do at the scale we do that.
Yeah, yes, Karthik, that's pretty wonderful, right? And I see rightly said, this is why the reason why we are able to build this model is because we were doing managed service from day zero, and we have that huge data set which we could feed into this model, which is not very easy for people to get anyway to build such models. So that's a key USP. So just building on top of it, right? Another major USP that we have is the risk-based approach and the industry-first feature, where industry-first approach, where we are saying that we can give a clean report within 72 hours. So whatever vulnerabilities are found, it will be patched without any FPs, and we can give a clean report saying that there is no vulnerabilities that could be exploited externally. So what's the tech behind this? What's the magic that is happening in the background that allows us to do this?
Right. This, we're talking about Swift Comply. Swift Comply is, I mean, it's a feature we're really, really happy with. Really, I mean, happy from the point of view of us developing it and getting it out, as well as the sheer value it brings to customers. Compliance report in 72 hours was unheard of till we actually did this a couple of years back. This is fantastic. The report that we give is actually accepted by auditing agencies like HITrust. So it's a, it's not that we say it's secure; it's other people also accept this report, and it's, third party validated in that sense, right? How does this work? Once again, one part of it is the amount of experience we've gained over the years of doing it. The other thing is, in the web security companies, we are unique in that we have a scanning and protection under one umbrella. It's not two different pieces from two different companies put together and integrated. Both of them are pieces that we built and developed over time. So because of this, the way that this whole thing works so beautifully is that when we scan the application, we find vulnerabilities. Uh, these vulnerabilities, let's say we find a SQL injection vulnerability, we will then post scan, we will actually run this in a special mode through the actual Aptrana protection. So it's going through the actual protection layer, and we not only scan and replay the vulnerabilities that are specific vulnerability and vector that is found, but we try all vectors and variants of that vulnerability that is found in a specific location. So obviously we're not in the full scan again through it because that will take too long. So it's very targeted, but we are trying all vectors, all combinations, all kind of avenues for that particular vulnerable area, parameter, whatever it is, right? By doing this, we clearly can tell that, okay, these many vulnerabilities found, these many are already blocked by Aptrana. Of the ones not blocked, again, based on our history, we know that these can be blocked by WAF easily by writing custom rules. And to do that, that information is automatically triggered as a case to our support and SIGDEV teams to go ahead and start doing writing those custom protections. Um, I just love it when pieces we develop at various times kind of come together beautifully like this. We had developed this thing for self-managed rules, which is that instead of writing custom rules by changing the code, we can actually give a UI-driven approach, which is something we provided directly in the Aptrana portal that customers can write. So even we leverage it to write most of this protection quickly with this thing. Okay, if the header contains this, if the request size is greater than this, blah blah blah, right? Take this action. So we do this for the most part. If there is some other slightly more complicated case, of course, it can get escalated to our security experts in Pavitra's team, who can write code, not code, but rules that are very targeted that cannot be done through the automated UI thing. And finally, there's a small section, the remaining part, which may not be possible to fix at all in WAF. Like let's say there's a overly permissive web path, right? Or we can't block it. It'll affect application functionality. These we tell the customers very clearly that, hey, these two, please go and fix it on your side. We cannot do this. And if you look at it, it is like a funnel, right? It winnows down very, very quickly. From the big list of vulnerabilities, bulk of them blocked by default. A small percent of the remaining percent of them we'll actually be able to do through our self-managed rules, and even smaller, this thing will require custom rules, and finally the customer will have to fix. So at the end of this, we say 72 hours, and mostly we do it way faster than that. And sometimes the 72 hours is, most of the time that takes a little bit longer is because the customer has to change things on their end, which takes longer than us changing our thing. This is beautiful. This is really, like you say, industry first, and I don't know if it's industry only. I don't know if anybody else even now does it. So.
Yeah, that it is industries first, and the industry's only one. Nobody else provides this feature, and I think released it a couple of years back, and it's been widely adopted by all our customers, and they really love it. So the other part of our managed service and the key part of the managed service is the monitoring aspect of things, right? And one of the key part of the monitoring is how we are keeping the rules up to date as the threat landscape evolves. And the key part about this is it's not like we update the rules, we give it to the customers, and we say, hey, you figure it out, you update it whenever you want to and handle the false positives. It is our team which, as part of the managed services, ensure that the rules are kept up to date, applied to the customers, and applied at scale without any false positives. So, Bhavika, your team is the heart of this. They do this process day in and day out. So, why don't you talk about the process, tech, and the people behind this?
Sure, Vivek. Yeah, zero-day monitoring and being on top of the zero-day coverage is our biggest responsibility for our team. So it's a two-step process. We do the monitoring, we do the shortlisting, screening, which are relevant to us, and then we add the protection based on the need. So when it comes to zero-day protection, we have our own platform, emerging threat intelligence platform, which is AI assisted, which will help us to monitor from a trusted security sources, including security vendors, RSS feeds, APIs that are coming from popular source like NVD or CISA or any of the exploit sourcing vendors. The platform helps us to screen, categorize based on the OWASP top 10 and application tier technologies that are relevant to us. The platform itself gives the comprehensive dashboards, reports, and the continuous alerts so that our team is able to quickly identify, prioritize, and respond immediately. Having the visibility of the vulnerabilities tracking through the system, we are able to identify the CVEs which are important to us, relevant to us. Similarly, whenever there is an exploit which is going in wild and public or the IOCs, based on that, we will be able to add coverage immediately. In parallel to this, we also analyze the live traffic across all the sites or the platforms that we have to identify is there any new exploit pattern or the technique that is momentarily appear. Even the moment we see anything which is abnormal or a suspicious activity that is not previously seen, we don't wait for the CVE to go public. We immediately try to understand what is the new attack technique, and then accordingly, whether it demands for a pattern specific rule or a behavior signature or something that we need to enhance our existing features, we validate it across all the environments and deploy it globally. So this entire process is of course automated and happens almost near to real time. In some of the cases, we do release the rules in a couple of hours. Otherwise, the rules updates happens once in a week. Whenever there is a new vulnerability, the coverage verification is done automatically, and whenever there is a need for adding a new protection, either it could be in the form of a new rule or it could be updating the existing one. Whether it is new or update, we follow a thorough process of dev, the functionality test. It goes through a detailed QA process and the deployment. Most of this process are automated, but again, this process we make sure that it goes to customer deployed seamlessly, and update is released in a couple of hours and based on the criticality in case of 0 days or any exploits that are exploited in wild. The rule actually, when we look at when we deploy it, it is not blindly applied everywhere. We make sure that it is applicable, and we apply it only where it is relevant, where it is suitable for the application. In addition to this, we also have our system continuously validates before it deploys to any rule updates or anything, even if it is existing rule update. We make sure that it is tested against the live traffic before it gets deployed to the public or it is deployed to globally. If a rule shows any signs of misbehaving or it is causing any disruption to any of the application, it is automatically restrained. So this allows us to maintain the stability round the clock, and also customer need not have to verify for any change that we do externally or across globally. So the baseline for us is the rules definitely just don't update globally, but also they adapt to an application over time.
Yeah, but I think one of the key parts about the managed service that we provide is the 0 day monitoring and how we keep it up to date. And I know one of the key reports that a customer look forward is our monthly 0-day reports that we publish. So Karthik, another aspect about our monitoring is looking at the site and the infra level monitoring, right? And notifying customers when there is an anomaly. And again, what's the tech behind this? How are we able to do this at scale?
Correct. Yeah. Like everything else, again, here also scale. We need to, like, doing it is one thing, and doing it at scale is yet another thing, right? It has to be done correctly, properly, accurately, and fast. So we've been monitoring. We have a promise. We're a fully managed service, so we always promise to monitor and take proactive action, including notifying customers as needed. So we have obviously a lot of automation built in, a lot of infra monitoring, a lot of rule monitoring, a lot of alerts and stuff like that built in that go to internal teams and sometimes to customers based on targeted things. We've actually, I mean, we've been doing this for a long time, and that's again how we scale well. But we're in the process of rolling out a step up, a notch up kind of monitoring solution, which actually again something we're very happy about. And what it provides you is, of course, it keeps the performance and the speed and the scale, but also allows plugging in of multiple sources of data coming in. The business logic around how these are mutated and evented and triggered and et cetera, and flagged is all done by this new platform. And then finally, to notify internal and external teams, we have a notification service so that we can actually meet customers where they are. If they are on Slack, we can send them Slack notification. If they want it by email, they can get email. If they want WhatsApp, they can get WhatsApp, right? So this will be rolled out over the next few months, and this will again take our managed, our protection, our service promise to the next level. And it's awesome for our internal teams. It's awesome for customers. So this is what's coming soon kind of stuff.
Thanks, Karthik. Thanks for the quick preview. So you did talk about internal notifications going to the internal teams also. So Kandav, I know a lot of these notifications comes to you around anomaly monitoring, and your team does a job around monitoring this and uh, taking corrective actions, proactive actions, or reaching out to customers as needed. So why don't you quickly talk about how this process works, how we go above and beyond in monitoring customer sites?
Yeah, sure, Vivek. So, yeah, I mean, most of the intelligent work is done by the engineering team. As Karthik said, we have a excellent, we have designed that platform to monitor the anomalies in real time, right? And notify the right stakeholders. Now, what customers look at, right? They have certain expectations. Now, they don't have an SME sitting in his office to take a decision or to look at the alerts, right? So on top of the rules that we have, definitely the rules are going to block bad traffic, right? But there are certain anomalies where customers expect that someone should be monitoring those anomalies. Like for an example, sudden surge in request for a certain URI, or overall host is receiving a request in multiples of the typical trend that he has. So any anomaly determined against the trend of his routine traffic gets triggered, right? It comes up. Now that those emails and those alerts can directly go to the customers also. And but as I said, they have a challenge. Now what customer expects us that you expects from us is someone should analyze those traffic, right, when that event occurred, and also give recommendation to them that what next he should do, right, to have better protection. That is where our team comes into play. So we analyze those incidents, and some of the examples that I'll give you is some of the cases we observed that there was a sudden surge of traffic from some non-interested countries like Russia and Pakistan, right? We also observed that there were some automated scan going on by observing that certain user agents were getting hit for that particular website or an application, right? We also observed that someone was targeting a certain page only, right? There were some booking window open for a certain app, and someone's trying to do a bot attack on that booking page for that particular. So this analysis helps us uh, to give out some, to create some very well defined recommendation to the customer, right? Like creating a captcha for a particular URI, defining further customizing rate limiting for the particular URI, or even blocking certain countries, right? The customers may not have a business interest in particular geolocation. The best thing to do is block the entire geolocation, like Russia, Pakistan, or any non-interested company. So this process really helps, gives those arms and ammunitions to customers to take a call and further improve their protection of their website. Right? Ultimate goal of having that kind of protection layer in between is to always keep on continually improving on that protection layer and ensure that the business doesn't hamper. Right? We don't block the legit traffic. There's always we in that entire managed service process. What I would say is we create that fine balance of blocking unwanted traffic and also ensuring that business is not hampered, right? Business is as usual for that website or that application. Yeah, wait.
Yeah, Kandav, I think that's how we are building the customer trust by working with the customer and being proactive, right? So Siddesh, let's bring Siddesh into the conversation also. So your team does the account management. There is a constant interaction that happens with the customers day in and day. I mean, on a periodic basis, right? So why don't you talk about that and how we go above and beyond in serving our customers?
Yeah, Vivek. So account management starts at the very moment the application gets onboarded. So there are multiple levels we manage the entire account, starting with whenever the application gets onboarded. For the security administrator, we do a very detailed deep dive walkthrough of our dashboard. We guide the customer how to use this dashboard on a day-to-day operation to keep on enhancing the security posture. Regularly, we also do a config review for the customer to showcase the usage so that they can validate and they can. We also share like what are the recommendation, the best practices they should follow to keep on enhancing the application security posture. So those kind of engagements also we do. We also do the reviews with executives where we show the business ROI the tool brings. We also talk about what are the new innovations, technology, use cases, and the feature sets the product is capable to handle now. We discuss about that. We also discuss about the upcoming roadmaps. We also share like what are our strategies around it. We share the trend analysis in a summary way for the executives to have a quick bird eye view. And we also share like what is the industry benchmarking and where they stand from an application security standpoint. So these are the kind of engagements we regularly do with our customers. We also get a lot of custom reporting requirements, which we also accommodate as a part of our account management. To give you a few examples, like when we are doing a review with CISO, they are more interested to have a vulnerability aging reports, right? So we incorporate those kind of reports. Like one of my customer, they are interested to know like which is the least API which has been accessed, so that they can discuss with the business and they can deprecate to minimize the attack surface. Then some other customer wants to know to give me the list of custom rules that have been implemented for a specific time period. So we add those particular kind of customizations, like what is the ticketing SLA, what are the 0-day coverage has been done, right? So all these kind of customizations are also part of our regular engagement activity that we do from an account management perspective, Vivek.
Yeah, thanks, Siddesh. Thanks. Thanks, everyone in the panel. I think uh, we were able to talk in detail about how our managed services is unique and how we go above and beyond to serve our customers. How the process, people, and technology comes together and provide the service to our customers, and how this is unique and why the managed services provided by Indusface is very different from what the other vendors provide. Hopefully, the audience were able to get the key aspects of this, and we will be happy to answer any questions. So, for people who do not know about Aptrana is a fully managed web application API protection platform. We do the exposure management, vulnerability management, and automated remediation. In the interest of time, we will stop here. If you are interested, you can reach out for us as free trial demo, which is possible. With that, we'll come to the end of this webinar, and we are happy to answer any questions.